This is Gettysburg, and we're at the site of the first battle.
Who got shot and killed here?
General John Reynolds.
General Reynolds.
He got shot in the first 3 hours of the battle and killed.
First general killed, and it was in 3 hours, huh, after the battle started.
Yeah.
And
That's the woods he was killed in. That's why it's called Reynolds Woods.
So here's the monument they made to him. Can you read it for us, Tyson?
Major General John F. Reynolds. Oh, it's F. I thought it was T. Commanding Left Wing, 1st, 3rd, and 11th Corps. Army of the Potomac, July 1st, 1863, erected by the state of Pennsylvania, July 1886.
Can you imagine going into those woods to fight? Here come some Union soldiers now.
The 151st Infantry of Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Eternal Light Peace Memorial. President Roosevelt dedicated it after the last annual Civil War vet.
Like reunion,
Yeah,
huh?
reunion.
They said that they're at the last reunion.
The oldest person was 94 years old.
There you go, 94. This is it right here. And then they got some cannons over here to go look at.
Veterans of the Union and Confederate armies from across the nation converged on Gettysburg in 1938, 75 years after the battle, for their last great reunion. All Civil War veterans were invited with expenses paid, and nearly 2,000 attended. The majority were in their 90s, and many were over 100.
Wow.
So that thing on the thing lied to us.
Yeah.
On the warm evening of Sunday, July 3rd, they gathered here with others to dedicate a monument to peace and national unity. President Franklin D. Roosevelt delivered the dedication speech to a crowd estimated at 200,000. The monument, designed by Paul Philippi Crett, is built of Alabama limestone and Maine granite, topped by a natural gas torch to be lit eternally to symbolize the unity of the United States.
Very neat.
Yeah. I got you full strength. I got you full strength.
This is the memorial made for the North Carolina regiment that was fought here at Gettysburg. It was sculpted by the same guy who did Mount Rushmore, and another one they talked about as well. This is the place of the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg. I'm up on top of the ridge right now that the Union tried to hold as the Confederates came across.
One of the funniest.
This is the memorial built to the Virginia regiments with Robert E. Lee sitting up on top of his horse. This is the site of the second day, July 2nd, I think they said, where his regiment, where he was under command, came down this bluff and attacked General Meade's men across this field. They met in the middle and battled it out. I am on top of Little Round Top right now, where the Union Army had to defend against the Confederates. There's a great vantage point from up here. You can see they had an awesome defensible position up here. I don't know how the Confederates thought they were going to actually be able to rush them and take this.
Actually, what I read over there is that the Confederates were up here already, and the Unions got it from them.
What are they going down there for? Just look at that thing.
These rocks right here.
Must have been.
Griffin, careful on the back side of there. Hey, let's go in the castle.
Here we're up on top of some kind of castle up here on Little Big Top. You can see everything behind me.
Some of those rocks are weird. Hey, let's go. I'm getting hot up here.
What? Getting hot?
I just got up here, man.
I've been hot.
Don't look down.
Hey, if you read that, Griffin, that plaque down there, it says those rocks we're climbing on right there, the soldiers used them for like shields.
Yeah.
Right over
Oh,
here.
wait, there is.
Yeah, we came to the left. All right.
We gotta look at the other half of it now.
That guy's got a shiny nose like John Harvey.
That guy's weird.
People must rub his nose.
Yeah.
Hey, you know those rocks.
Mommy, I came up with a new thing. Rub that guy's nose and you have 10 years good luck.
It probably is for good luck, but I don't think you want to rub it.
Probably not.
Why?
Because other people probably rubbed it.
Actually, these might be the rocks they use. That looks like the picture right there.
It does.
Yeah.
And they also like build it like a structure kind of.
You're gonna find a cave down there that you could hide in.
Oh yeah?
There was even
Hide
like,
right here.
there was even like a little like almost like they digged a hole
Mm-hmm.
and I looked down and when you went down there was a big open area. So it was like they digged a hole, jumped down there and covered it with a rock or something.
They might have.
Big giant area. Looked like storage area almost. Humongous.
Here we are getting up to the very top of Little Big Top. Or Little Round Top, whatever it's called.
How do you fire there, doesn't it? The string that comes out and stuff.
Yeah, well, they didn't. This is just this isn't the actual cannon.
Can they light the string on top?
It was probably wood wheels,
This
wood
is,
everything except for the canyon.
This
So
is-
Griffin and I were talking about it the other place. We were trying to figure out how many guys it probably took to carry this thing
oh yeah.
around.
Army of the Potomac, 5th Corps Artillery Brigade. 6 rifled 10-pounders. So many cannons are up here, Tyson.
1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4. There's no 5 and 6.
They have a pretty good vantage point for shooting.
Yeah. There might be 5 and 6 down there.
When you lay down on the floor.
They were the sharpshooters, yeah. So they were like the snipers. So they stood up here and tried to pick off people. See, look at- they could kill. Look
So like when someone's
They could
walking
kill
up
an
here.
enemy soldier at 1,000 yards.
Let's walk into a cobweb. You.
Okay. You are standing on Little Round Top, looking west over Plum Run and the Valley of Death, Devil's Den and the Slaughter Pen. Each a maze of rocks, outcrops, and boulders may be seen down the valley to your left. On the afternoon of the second day of the battle, Union forces seized this strategic high ground, which they held for the remainder of the battle. Many officers and men from both sides died in the struggle. This one says, you are standing on a little round top looking north and west over the center of the battlefield. Much of the fighting on second and third days of the battle was visible from here. The Union line of defense began here at the round top and ran north along Cemetery Ridge to the edge of town, then curved east over to Culp's Hill, not visible, forming a fishhook. Since it was an interior line, it was at least a mile shorter than the Confederate line and required fewer soldiers to maintain. The higher elevation of the Union line gave the Federals better field of view, greater range of cannon, and required the Confederates to attack uphill, which slowed them down. The Confederate line of battle extended along Seminary Ridge to your left and then curved east through town, paralleling the Union line. There's a statue right there of the general watching the battle. And Mom and Griffin. About 3 p.m. on July 2nd, the Union Army Chief Engineer, Brigadier General G.K. Warren, stepped out on these rocks with his binoculars. General Meade had sent him to examine battlefield conditions in the area. Warren found Union signalmen here, but no infantry. Little Round Top was undefended. Warren discovered the Confederate troops were concealed in the woods just beyond the Emmitsburg Road, the second line of trees on the horizon. If these Southerners were allowed to seize Little Round Top, the Union Army would be dangerously outflanked. General Warden quickly dispatched aides to seek troops to defend the hill. Colonel Strong Vincent his brigade arrived just in time to meet the onrush Confederates, and a bloody conflict ensued. When Vincent's men were nearly overwhelmed, Warren found Colonel Patrick O'Rourke's 104th, 140th New York Infantry on the hillside behind you and rushed them into the fight to save the day for the Union. So here we are at Devil's Den and the Slaughter Pen. The Confederates took over this. We're next to Little Round Top, which is right over there. And apparently the Confederates and the Union officers, Union fought here. And then the Confederates won this area, put snipers up there on the top of this ridge, and shot at the officers at Little Round Top until July 3rd, when the war ended.
I will be warming up the thing if you don't get moving.
What are we doing, Griff?
I asked Tyson if he could go grab my hat.
Oh. Go ahead.
There's a cave.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Alien thing. I'm gonna go peel first. So.
You could go in there.
Okay. I got the rocks make stairs.
Yeah, I like see the rocks.
I know.
So the Confederate sharpshooters are up here shooting at people, huh? What'd you find?
Oh, I saw that. That's what a statue is. The attack on Devil's Den.
What does it say?
The attack on Devil's Den. The Confederate infantry attack of July 2nd swept from Seminary Ridge and struck the left of Sickles' line. For 2 terrible hours, 1 reinforced Union brigade and 2 batteries of artillery took the full shock of a 3-brigade attack. The survivors finally fell back to Cemetery Ridge.
So this is more of Devil's Den. Walking back down. This is all Devil's Den up here. And where we walked up.
Watch out, there's poison ivy.
There is?
No, there's
So was this the left flank? When you read that thing over there, it sounds like this too was like, they called it the Slaughter's Pen or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like all down in these rocks.
There is poison ivy over there.
What, buddy? Oh, yeah.
There's 3 leaves. 3 leaves, leave them be.
Right now I'm at the site, and we're still at Devil's Den, but this is a spot here that was, it says it was, in front of you is the setting of one of Gettysburg's most famous historic photographs taken 3 days after the battle. Well, you can see right there, there's a wall, and apparently they took a picture there. I'm gonna see if I can get the video here to get it. But there was a picture of a sharpshooter laying there dead with his gun.
It turned out,
Yeah, go ahead and tell him, Tyson. What was it?
it turned out to be fake though. They found the body 40 yards that way.
Mm-hmm.
So they put it behind the wall and they grabbed a gun and they put it leaning up against the wall.
So it was basically a propaganda.
Yeah. And
thing.
it wasn't even a sharpshooter gun.
Yep. So, but there it is. That's the spot of the picture. Okay.
Behind that wall, yeah.
A lot of places to hide around here, huh? Oh boy, Griff, don't fall down in the hole.
Go down, get onto that one, get onto that one, get onto.
Are we following the same way the soldiers did here?
Yeah.
How did you make that?
Griffin over there and climb down this one.
Come on that tiny walk. It's down.
And then,
There.
then step on this one. Nope. Yeah.
There, here. be trying to jump that way.
Pretty big crevice.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had bodies like falling in there. They like.
Oh, I imagine the people that
dig 'em
got
out
shot.
over there or what?
Probably did have bodies falling in there.
How are we gonna get back down?
Here, Tyson, give me your
Easy.
camera.
Yeah, but I already see someone that fell from there. There's a water bottle laying on the floor and car keys.
All right, back away from that one.
Oh, there's a
Step
bridge
down.
right there.
Step down, dude.
I don't trust that bridge.
You don't trust the bridge. Well, it's better than jumping that crevice.
Yeah, there's lots of garbage in there.
Alright, guys, let's head over there.
Oh,
I don't trust wooden bridges. It has to be metal or I don't walk over it. But I don't want to get stranded over there.
All right, Griff, stop.
Mom, set a little tiny stool like you lay down.
This is Reverend Father William Corby. He was chaplain to the 88th Regiment, New York Infantry. He stood on this very rock right here and gave prayer to the Irish Brigade of more than 500 people. Later he became president of Notre Dame College. Here we are at the Pennsylvania Memorial. It's the largest memorial in Gettysburg, or at Gettysburg. We're on Cemetery Ridge. That's where they put this memorial, along with a lot more. I don't know if you can see, but there's tons of them around here, behind me and around me. But this Pennsylvania Memorial is impressive to say the least. Take a look at it. Tyson. Just to give you an idea how big this place actually is. There's a monument to Major General Slocum on top of his horse, on top of Cemetery Hill. What's that?
There's one other CD to do.
Is that a tombstone there, or what is that?
No, well, it just says like 5th Battalion something.
Oh.
Tyson's trying to find it.
What does this one say?
I don't know yet.
East Cemetery Hill?
Yeah, East Cemetery Hill. About dusk on July 2nd, 2 Confederate infantry brigades of Early's division appeared in line of battle on the rolling pastures below you to the right. Their objective was East Cemetery Hill, 1.4 miles in front of you. Union cannon here and on the hill raked them with shell, shrapnel, and canister, but they pressed on under the cover of smoke and fallen night. Union troops waiting behind stone walls at the base of the hill became unnerved at the approach of the 2,500 men in gray. Some fled up the hill while others surrendered, crushing all resistance. The 9th Louisiana and 6th North Carolina regiments stormed the Union artillery batteries at the crest near the cemetery gatehouse and captured several cannon. The Confederates had breached the Union line, but other Confederate units expected to attack in concert had not. The isolated Southerners soon faced the blazing muskets of Union reinforcements, who forced them to retreat down the slope in the dark. The keystone of the Union line had been saved.
We're now standing at Cemetery Ridge, the spot of Pickett's last charge. Pickett and his troops came out of those trees and crossed that field right there. The Union was behind me, and as Pickett's men crossed that road with that fence and came over this little wall, it says that they were mowed down by musket fire and cannons. 12,000 men in all coming this way towards the Union. The Union was set up back here. At the crest. There you go.
We're walking down to the home that General Meade used as a command post during the Civil War. It's over there.
Here we are at the headquarters of Major General George Meade. This home behind me is the actual spot where he met with other generals, and they decided together where they were going to fight, and if they were going to fight, or if they were just going to go defensive and wait for Lee to come after them. They ended up deciding unanimously that they were just going to wait for Lee to attack them, which they did at Cemetery Ridge.
This is General Meade's commanding post during the Battle of Gettysburg.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And it's actually still here.
This must be how they got to the cellar. Because it was a normal house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Daddy, if you look, there's stone right there.
Is there?
Yeah, it looks like it lead down somewhere because there's no stone anywhere else.
Where at?
Right here, underneath the door. See?
Mm-hmm. What's inside the windows? Did you look inside?
No. Whoa.
What's in there?
There's a table with 3 chairs, an old lantern, and some metal cups. And then there's other stuff.
Oh yeah.
His speech. A guy came over for like his lunch break and he ate his lunch and I think he left.
Where are we heading to, Tyson? National Cemetery.
The National Cemetery.
What happened up here?
Did this.
Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address in 1863.
The dogs know. Picnic tables. Nobody.
National Cemetery.
Good, that's the kind of stuff. What is that?
Soldiers National Cemetery contains the graves of more than 6,000 United States servicemen, including 30,580 Union soldiers killed in the Civil War. Nearly half of the Civil War burials are unknown soldiers. A few days after the battle, Andrew Curtin, governor of Pennsylvania, visited Gettysburg and was deeply moved by what he saw. Bodies of soldiers had been hurriedly buried on the battlefield, and some had not been buried at all. Curtin and representatives of northern states took steps to create a national cemetery. Beginning in October 1863, bodies were carefully removed from the field and reinterred here. The work took 5 months. On November 19, 1863, before the burials were completed, government officials, battle veterans, and citizens assembled to dedicate the cemetery. Near the end of the ceremonies, the President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, offered a few remarks, his Gettysburg Address. This monument commemorates Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, November 19, 1863. The address was delivered about 300 yards from this spot along the Upper Cemetery Drive. The site is now marked by a Soldiers' National Monument.
Holy mimosa sauce.
And that's just a little bit of how many people are actually buried here. There's a lot more.
Still all that.
Mm-hmm. That's probably more modern day, though.
It's like all the same exact like shape and all the same exact color for all of them. There's like one.
Here's some of the tombs of all the unknown soldiers from Gettysburg. They all just have numbers on them, indicating how many soldiers there are, I guess. Like that one there is number 909. They go out quite a bit. And according to what I just read a little while ago, that is the actual spot where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. What?
All of these are 425 bodies.
425 bodies?
So those 425 tombs.
No, it's...
And then here's more names.
There's names on those?
Yeah. There's not.
These all are names on them, huh?
Oh, wait, why is it starting at 500?
Oh yeah, I still say unknown.
Lincoln.
That's because it's a Lincoln.
I know.
Right here is 138 bodies buried.
There's a penny.
Yep, leave it.
What?
Yeah.
I'll find your mama. Milk flag. When they fold up that milk flag.
There's the monument where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address at the National Cemetery here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The plaque at the monument here reads, "Kentucky honors her son, Abraham Lincoln, who delivered his immortal address at the site now marked by the Soldiers' Monument."
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
This ends our trip to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We're off to our next stop. We got one more night at the campground. We're going to do probably some swimming and some miniature golf and stuff like that. And then we're going to get up in the morning and head out and go to the next place. So it's been a fun trip. 2 busy days. Lots of sightseeing, lots of listening to the DVDs or the CDs about what was going on where. Lots of monuments. We learned that this was the largest monument garden in the world. I didn't even know such a thing existed, but it does, and it's here. So tons of stuff going on. Good time. Off to the next place. Right, Tyson?
Yep.
All right.